there for about 25 seasons, which is quite
Okay.
a long time.
Right.
Good. But as you know, being there and at the BBC for that long time, lots of people would perceive him as an influencer. So whatever he says online matters a lot.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and as Trevor said earlier, the BBC would like to see themselves as an impartial institution.
Yeah.
And if he's speaking, whatever he says there, lots of people, some would welcome it, and while others would criticize it. Probably, political, depending on their political views.
Yeah.
So for him, I felt he should be more careful of what he says
Yeah.
on
All
that
right.
platform.
Yeah.
If he says it on his personal platform,
Yeah.
it's a different thing.
Yeah.
But representing the BBC and saying certain things might not go well with lots of people.
Yeah.
You understand? And I think that is one thing. Maybe that I'm not sure. I wouldn't say that's the reason they're trying to get rid of him. But
No.
yeah, but I just feel it's an influencer. Lots of people are looking up to him. Whatever he says, lots of people would like. Oh yeah, Gary's saying the right thing, and they'll
Yeah.
just go with the flow. So I
Yeah.
think he should have been more careful what he says online,
Yeah.
especially on that platform.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. I mean,
yeah. So then on the other hand, I looked at it and like, okay, is he saying this thing on behalf of the BBC?
right. Okay. That's another point.
No, it's not. But at the end of the day, the deal has been done. The deal has been done.
Yeah.
So you can't judge the BBC. The deal has been done. They've taken the decision, and no one's gonna just, it's just one of those things.
It is.
But I did look at it from both perspectives. Like, okay, yeah, it's an influencer, so a lot of people are looking up to him. He has to be very careful of what he says online.
Yeah.
And on
Absolutely.
the other, I looked at, is he saying this thing on behalf of the BBC?
Yeah.
Which I would say no. And if you're not saying on behalf of the BBC, I think they could have just cautioned him, you know, mind what you say online on our platform.
Yeah.
If you want to say something, if you have your personal platform, you could say it. That's your perspective. But
Right.
on this platform, just mind what you say.
Yeah.
We're not partial.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that's my own thoughts.
Well, that's a very good. I mean, it certainly divides opinion, don't it? You know that what's going on with him. But now we're going to move on to something else. Now we've had a decision from the High Court. We're not discussing the political part of it. So the decision from the High Court with regards to whether who should be classed as a woman. You know what a woman is, and the court made it very clear. Now we're not going into that, but we're just looking at how
This is
he
a
affects.
controversial issue, Ems.
It
This is
is.
a controversial issue, Ems.
It is. It is. I know. I understand. But we're not going into the controversy of it or the controversial part of it. We're just looking at how it affects football going forward, and we're talking about women's football because it doesn't affect men's football. You know, you can have women in men's football. The men wouldn't mind. I don't think they would. But it's when you have a biological male in in a female football team. And I think we've had that before. And they had a walk in a female football team. And I think we've had that before. And they had a walkout, didn't they? The other team decided not to play the game. They said, we're going to do a walkout because we don't think this is right. Now, going forward, do you think that is settled, the issue with football? Do you think this is the end of it? We're not going to have this debate anymore. This is the end. We're going to have only women playing women football and men playing men's football. What's your opinion?
Yeah, well, my view would be that it will be the end of it because the Supreme Court has made a judgment. Now, as you say, there's very much a political side of that, but all we're concerned with is the idea, perhaps not just with football, but is it right, or has it been right that biological men, albeit identifying as women, have been able to play in women's sports? I mean, one of the most notable ones, I think, was in the last Olympics, whereby in the female boxing, where I think one female boxer, she was knocked out, I think, by someone who had transgendered, and I think afterwards she complained bitterly about having to face someone who she felt effectively a man. And I think that's the issue, isn't it? That a biological male, even identifying as female after taking whatever drugs, etc., would still, having gone through puberty, have the body, in many respects, of a male. And therefore, it's manifestly unfair, in my view, that a biological male, whatever they now identify as, should ever play in women's sport. Across women's sport, they've lost lots of world records because, biological men as women coming in and wiping the floor with the previous records cannot be right. And it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with the fact that so many world records have been broken by biological males, whether they will wipe the slate clean and go back to the previous records or whether they're just stuck with it. That's going to be quite an interesting area for this. But I think certainly in soccer, in football, and in other sports, in this country at least, and I'm sure in others, biological men will not be able to compete in women's sports. Women have fought for their own spaces, not just in sport, and this business over the last few years has taken them backwards, in terms of safe spaces. It's a big subject, not just a political.